We are live and we have some big news as Rodrigo De Paul looks like he is officially coming to Inter Miami, reportedly signing a 4-year deal to join his international teammate Lionel Messi at Inter Miami, which is a huge deal for the league. Huge deal for Inter Miami. And we're going to talk all about it. We're going to read the reports. I'm going to give you my opinion on expanded opinion on where this ranks all time in Major League Soccer signings. And I'll be very curious to see what you guys think and where you rank the signing all time for Major League Soccer. But before we get into any of that, do me a favor, make sure you like the stream down below. If you haven't already, let's try to get to 100 likes. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We are 220 subscribers away from hitting 8,000 subs. And our goal is to hit that by the end of the month. And with the pace we're at, I think we'll do it. So make sure you subscribe if you haven't already and hit the little bell notifications so you never miss any of my videos and especially the emergency live streams. So let's go ahead and get this pulled up. Read a couple comments first because I want to get you guys involved. Juan says, let's go get with the program, MLS owners. You want to make a splash, you got to jump in the deep end. I agree with that. Elon Don says, still can't believe this is happening. Have Hope says, where is Zaddy Moves at? Juan says, very interesting to see this team in about 4 weeks with Bright, Allen, and Frey are healthy and Mascherano figures out rotations. It's going to be, this team is scary. If we're being honest, it's a very scary team. Mr. says, hi, Will, good signing. What's going to happen with Busquets? We'll get into that in a second because we did get some clarification on how they're going to be able to fit this signing under the current rules of Major League Soccer. So we will get into that in just a second. Justin says, MLS teams are mad. Devin Posey says, I heard DePaul will start on loan until Sergio contract expires. Yes, we'll get into that in just a second, but that is likely how they will fit him under the salary budget. Justin says, they gone say Inter Miami cheating, but they got him on loan. They not breaking a rule. I mean, they're technically not breaking a rule. So let's go ahead and get into this. Okay, let's get into the report by Fabrizio Romano, who has been on this, talking about this for several days now. He posted this morning. He says, red alert, Inter Miami are closing in on Rodrigo De Paul. Atletico Madrid have accepted their proposal, which if you guys have been keeping up with this, that was the last hurdle for Inter Miami to be able to sign Rodrigo De Paul, was coming to an agreement with Atletico Madrid. And I think that the reason why Atletico Madrid had been holding out is because they wanted a replacement, which they have Thiago Almada now, who they are signing from Botafogo. Atlanta United, obviously, former midfielder. They're likely to get a fee for that transfer. And they also signed Johnny Cardoso. So they signed 2 midfielders to replace or fill the gap that Rodrigo De Paul is going to leave. So I feel like that was a final hurdle, too, other than just coming to an agreement with Inter Miami on a transfer fee. He says talks were already advanced, as reported last week, and now the deal is almost done between the clubs. Final details being sorted out in the 4-year deal for De Paul, and then here we go. The famous words, right? So Inter Miami are able to get this essentially done, right? And it just shows the ambition that the club has. It shows the ambition that Jorge Mas has, and getting him at 31 years old. And this was never about convincing Rodrigo De Paul to come to Inter Miami in Major League Soccer, because if you've been keeping up with it, he has essentially been on board since day one. And that's good. That means he wants to be here. His mind's in the right, he has the right mindset coming over here. He's obviously hungry, especially before the 2026 World Cup. He's going to want to play at the best ball he possibly can so he can keep his starting position in 2026, which we'll see if he'll be able to do. I mean, this is just an amazing signing. Absolutely amazing signing. I want to get you guys involved because we're going to talk more about how they're making this happen. We're going to talk about where this ranks all time in Major League Soccer history as far as big profile signings. But I want you guys to rate this signing 1 out of 10. 1 being not impressed, not a good signing. 10 being a perfect signing. 1 through 10, where do you guys rank this Inter Miami signing of Rodrigo De Paul from Atletico Madrid? Let me know down below 1 through 10. And I'll give you my score. I think this is a 10. I think it's a hard 10 because Inter Miami are getting a guy at 31 years old, like I said, playing for Argentina, arguably the best club in the world internationally. They just won the World Cup in 2022. They are probably going to be I don't want to say they're favorites, but they have to be top 3 in favorites to win it in 2026. He's going to be a starting midfielder for that team. So you're getting him to come here at 31 years old. He could have stayed at Atletico. He could have went to another big club in Europe. He chose to come here right now. We talked about this before, but this is the most Saudi Arabia signing that Major League Soccer has made since Saudi's been dropping all these bags. This is the most Saudi Arabian signing and I know people are going to think that's funny the way I worded that, but it's true, right? We see all the guys that Saudi Arabia are bringing in and what age, the quality. This is a type of signing like that. This is what the DP signing should be in Major League Soccer. Let's see. Cynical Tube says he's a 10. William Maris, he's a 10. Let's see. Seba says he's a 9 out of 10. MD says he's 100. Rosell said they're a 10. A. Michael's a 10. Devin Posey's a 10. The Adventures of Dawn says he's a 9. Still have liked to see them sign a defender. Well, I mean, they still could. I don't think I don't think that's out of the question. They definitely could still sign a defender. We're just talking about them signing Rodrigo De Paul and what it means for Inter Miami, what it means for MLS, and how big of a deal it is. Like I said, we will get into like the ranking of where I think he falls all time in Major League Soccer as far as impact. MD says, bro, I'm from Bangladesh. Love you. Appreciate that. Really appreciate it. Appreciate the support. Also, guys, listen, if you haven't already, we're at 16 likes, 70 of you in the chat. Make sure you hit the like button down below. Let's try to get to 100 likes. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that little bell notification so you never miss a video. Rojo for Martinez. I've heard that's a possibility, but I'm not sure if that's going to happen. Now, listen, let's go ahead and get into talking about how this is going to even happen. Because if you know, Inter Miami have 3 DPs right now. They have Lionel Messi, who's making $20 million a year. They have Sergio Busquets, who's making around just shy of $9 million a year. And then they have Jordi Alba, who's making around $6 million a year. None of these guys are eligible to be bought down via TAM, target allocation money. They are not able to be bought down. They are true, bona fide, designated players. There's no mechanism that could get them out of their deals, unless you bought them out, but that's not going to happen. So, Michelle Kaufman reported, per reliable source, Inter Miami and Rodrigo De Paul has agreed to a 4-year deal, which we know about because we heard that from Fabrizio this morning, right? Loan through 2025 with option to purchase, targeting Leagues Cup for his debut. So, Inter Miami are essentially using a loophole. I guess you could call it a loophole, so that they can get Rodrigo De Paul here now, and they don't have to pay the transfer fee, which I want to preface this. The transfer fee that he would command, $15, $16 million, would automatically make him a DP, automatically make him a designated player. There is no backloading the deal. There is no way you could Gareth Bale the deal, which I saw some people saying on Twitter. There's no way to do that. He would be a bona fide DP just based on his transfer fee alone, which is a stupid MLS rule, but we're not going to get into that. So, Inter Miami are going to get Rodrigo De Paul on a loan deal for the rest of the 2025 season. He'll likely be a TAM player. I'm sure that they'll probably max his possible salary, whatever they can, pay him, 1.5, 1.6 million a year for the remainder of this 2025 season. But after the 2025 season, Sergio Busquets is going to be out of contract. Rodrigo De Paul essentially is going to take the designated player spot from Sergio Busquets after the 2025 season. So, Inter Miami have found a way to not have to buy out Sergio Busquets. They don't have to wait a year to get Rodrigo De Paul. They are able to get him at least for the remainder of the last 5 months of this season, and then have him transition into Sergio Busquets as DP spot, which is great news. Obviously, if you're an Inter Miami fan, it's great news. Now, we can get into the debate and if, how stupid some of these rules are and why it shouldn't even be like this, and you should be able to sign the players you want to sign. But, hey, look, they found a way to get it done, and they're getting a top 15 central midfielder in the world, in my opinion. Got a lot of flack for that, but I truly believe I believe that Rodrigo De Paul is the top 15 box-to-box midfielder in the world. I believe that. Curious what you guys think. Let's see. Juan says it's a 10 for MLS above all else because it keeps Messi in MLS. GOAT number 10 staying in MLS is why it's 100. FC Gordito says, "Sir, when will you break down the Leagues Cup matchups?" I'll probably do something like that in a week or two, like right before the Leagues Cup. I think I'll probably end up covering it and doing some live stream watch longs for that. James says, "Just force Busquets into retirement at this point." Now, that was a rumor that he might retire maybe a month ago or something like that. They were saying that he had interest in going back to Spain to coach and that he might retire to free up a DP spot for Inter Miami. But this alleviates that, right? You don't have to do that now. And Sergio Busquets can finish the year out with his Barca boys and maybe try to lift an MLS Cup trophy and try to win as many trophies as they can. So they don't have to force him out yet. He'll just naturally just retire and he'll be out of contract at the end of the 2025 season. And Rodrigo De Paul will be able to take over that spot. But there is a possibility that Sergio Busquets could return to Inter Miami in 2026, but obviously not on a DP deal. He's not worth it at 37 years old. I mean, he's beyond washed. No disrespect. Barca fan, obviously. Respect what he did back in his day. But the guy is a shell of what he used to be, right? He's not even close to what he used to be. MD says, which club do you want Thomas Muller to play for in MLS? I don't know. I don't really have a preference. I mean, maybe Cincinnati would be interesting just because they're already so good. Now, someone asked, is Messi leaving? Now, I'll touch on this a little bit. So I think that one of the things that Inter Miami did to entice Messi to stay, which I really wasn't worried about him staying in the first place, but one of the things that they did to entice him to want to stay at Inter Miami was sign one of his friends who, not just a friend, but also a quality friend playing wise. Not quality friend of like how good the friendship is, obviously, even though that probably is good anyway. But they enticed him with saying, hey, we will be willing to spend whatever it takes to get Rodrigo De Paul in the midfield to help you out. We want you to stay here. We want to stick to the plan. We want you to open up this new stadium in 2026. We want you to be on this club for the World Cup in 2026. And we honestly want you to be here as long as you want to be here. So I believe, though that hasn't been announced yet, that Messi is going to sign a 1-year extension for 2026. And it's going to include a player option for 2027. And Messi is likely to stay with Inter Miami through 2027. He'll probably retire at 40 years old. And if you've been watching him lately, especially with how much of a talent gap there is between him and everyone else behind him, which, most of you would say that there's always been a talent gap behind Messi because he's the best ever. But what I'm saying is that Miami has a lot of holes. There is a talent deficiency on this club. And Messi's essentially doing it all by himself. And he still looks really, really good. So if Messi is still performing at that type of level, he's not going to retire anytime soon. Let's see. Tony says, I like Busquets and Suarez, but they both need to retire at the end of this. They both definitely need to retire at the end of the season. The Adventure Don says, gonna have to start calling Inter Miami Ratatouille FC the way that they're cooking. It's one of my favorite Pixar movies, honestly. I don't know if you can see, I got the Ratatouille hat behind me. Let's see. Have Hope says, you think Messi reaching 900 this year? He's 28 away. Oh, man. I think he could do it. We'll see tonight. If he scores a brace again tonight, which would be his 6th brace in a row, I think he's going to score. He might score 35 goals this year. Josh Gibson says, can't they just play DePaul in a different position? Are you talking about Inter Miami? Juan says, box to box is the key wording. Busquets has no legs. Bright is still raw, and Redondo hasn't lived up to his father's skill set. Huge signing for Major League Soccer. And we'll definitely get into that in a little bit, where I rank it all time. Be curious to see what you guys think. Why would he go to Austria? Who would go to Austria? Oh, you're talking about, Thomas Muller. Mitch says, do you think Moss has some inside info as to the changes coming to MLS roster rules? I feel like this move is setting up for them to keep Busquets. That's why a Bussy extension has not been discussed. Maybe, but here's the thing. You can't give Sergio Busquets a DP extension. He's not worth at this point. He's beyond washed. He's 37 years old. He's a shell of himself. He honestly hasn't been that good since the 2023 mid-season where he came in the summer, I don't think he's really looked that good for Inter Miami. I think he's been kind of mid. I love Sergio Busquets, but let's be honest, he's not worth $9 million a year, which is what he's being paid. So I really doubt that they're going to sign an extension based off a rule change in Major League Soccer. But I could see him staying on as a TAM player, target allocation money, maximum salary $1.7, $1.8 million. I definitely could see something like that. That's what Luis Suarez is playing on right now. And I don't think anybody in the chat thinks that Sergio Busquets has been better for Inter Miami than Luis Suarez has been. We'll see what happens. There's still 6 months to see what they do, but I don't think Sergio Busquets will ever be a DP for Inter Miami again. Let's see. Abu Bakar says Inter Miami need a good striker. They definitely do. They need a striker and they need some center back help pretty badly. Like if they want to win any trophies, they need to get both of those things figured out. Rigby says, can you explain please why it's a salary cap? Why it's a salary cap on MLS? Why there's a salary cap on MLS? There's a salary cap on MLS because they try to promote parity, where they want all the teams in the league to be close, not far apart. They want their best team and their worst team to be closer than a lot of other leagues around the world. So that way, theoretically, there could be, or anybody could win any possible season, which is not going to happen. We talked about that before. There's certain teams in Major League Soccer, just the way they're ran, they will never win an MLS Cup. So the forced parity is more like forced mediocrity. That's the way I look at it for Major League Soccer. Josh says, yeah, everyone is saying he's just going to replace Busquets, but can't they just play him in a different position? Well, I mean, he's going to play. Ideally, if Busquets wasn't here, Redondo would be at the 6, and Rodrigo De Paul is going to play the 8. He's going to play in front of Redondo or Sergio Busquets. He's going to play in front of them no matter what anyway. But ideally, Redondo is a natural 6, and he's not able to play that because Sergio Busquets is a 6. They play the same position. So one of them is having to play out of position if you want to get both of them on the pitch. So when he leaves, now there has been some rumors about Federico Redondo being sold, possibly back to a club in Argentina. I don't know if that's going to happen, but if it does, then they would have a hole at the 6th position. I don't think that Rodrigo De Paul is going to play as a 6. He's going to play as an 8. Tony says Jordi Alba has slowed down quite a bit. He has. He's been injured too. He's been hurt. He's been slow. I think that giving him $6 million a year right now is kind of crazy. I'm not going to lie to you. Have Hope says last game Alba and Messi were constantly talking to Luis and hyping him up. You can tell he really can't go on for that much longer. I mean, he looks like a wounded duck, man. He literally runs like a 3-legged dog. I mean, we call him La Tortuga for a reason. He is the turtle. At this point, no disrespect all time, but he is the turtle. Mitch says, but if the cap goes up, he could be $2 to $3 million contract. Are you talking about Sergio Busquets? William Barrett says, I agree with Miguel. Germans like Mueller fit very well in Chicago, like happened with Schweinsteiger. Maybe he'll go there, but I don't think that's on the radar. Nick Smith says, Redondo is hot. Good riddance. I mean, no, he definitely has not lived up to what we thought he would be. I was very excited for that signing at first, and obviously he is disappointed. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens when they they get a couple more guys in here and see how he fits on the pitch. Is he going to even start? I don't know. I don't know if Federico Redondo is going to even start for Inter Miami. Let's see. Keyshawn says Messi has got to stay. Oh, he's 100% staying now. He is 100% staying in Inter Miami right now. Luis says De Paul needs to play the 8. He is the motor. Yeah, he needs to play the 8. Ideally, I'm thinking if it was me with the starting 11, I liked it better when they played a 4-3-3, but with Javier Mascherano, they play more of a 4-4-2. And they'll have 2 midfielders in the middle, and they'll have, Velasco Scovia on the left. They'll have Tadio Yande on the right. I wish they'd go back to a 4-3-3 where they have Messi on the right wing instead of more underneath Luis Suarez. And they need to get a new striker bad. They need to get some speed. This team just has no speed at all. It's absolutely killing them. Absolutely killing them. Donnie Moore says, be shocked to see Messi not resign. I mean, it's pretty much a foregone conclusion. Messi is going to resign now. Like, he's going to resign with Inter Miami. Rodrigo De Paul would not be coming to Inter Miami if Messi was not going to stay. That's just a fact. He was assured, I would assume, by Messi that he will be here at least for the next 2 years. For the next 2 years. Now, the question is, before we get into the ranking all time, right? I want to get you guys more involved and see what you think about this. Do you think signing Rodrigo De Paul, as Inter Miami is currently constructed, does this make them the best team by far in Major League Soccer right now? Does signing Rodrigo De Paul make Inter Miami the best team in Major League Soccer right now? De Paul is the best. LAC fan says Abondo needs playing time. Devin Posey says he thinks it does make him the best team in MLS. Have Hope says yes. MD says yes, no doubt. Fabian says yes. The Z says no, we still need to see what LAFC does. Well, don't want to get too much in LAFC, but I think if they sign Rana and they get a striker, they could be dangerous. Lightning says yes. N4 K5 says almost they need some legs. Francisco says the best team is the one that wins trophies, so we will have to wait. Nick Smith says they already have the best roster, but we will be held back by the coach or the lack thereof. No Suarez is still there. William Mayer says your thoughts about Kremoski and Segovia. I think Kremoski needs a change of scenery. I think he should be moved on, maybe traded in MLS because you'll get the most resources if you do that. And I really don't see a place for him anymore on this team. I honestly think that Talasco Segovia will probably be sold maybe by the end of the year. I don't think he's going to be here very long. Not because he's done anything bad. Just I think they'll have interest and he'll probably take the most attractive first offer that he gets. But I think that there's going to be some more additions to this team. Now, there was rumors that they were going to sign Brian Rodriguez from Club America, obviously the left winger, the Uruguayan international, absolute speed demon. But Club America wanted like $8 to $10 million for him, and they couldn't sign him because he'd be a DP. So that wasn't going to work. So we'll see what they do. We'll see what happens. We'll see what else they add. Fabian says Mascherano out. Mr. says not by a mile. They still really need a striker. That said, I expect Miami to win the MLS Cup. I think this season is different than last year because a lot of their core players are playing more games. Messi only played 19 games last year in 2024. He's already played 16 in 2025. He just needs to play. Now they have 15 matches left. He just needs to play 3 more games to already match his 2024 appearances. So having Messi more involved, having a lot of the key players more involved and playing the entire season, and then signing a guy like Rodrigo De Paul is going to be huge for the league, or huge for the team, I mean. And I think that if they can just get a striker and a center back, I think they're the best team in MLS. I don't think it's close. Cringe says it would be nice to see Miami win Leagues Cup and then go hard for MLS Cup. Yeah, so let's talk about that real quick. Michelle also said that Rodrigo De Paul's, when they sign him, his targeted debut will be for Leagues Cup. So they want him to make his first appearance with Inter Miami for Leagues Cup. Now, if you guys remember in 2023, when Messi signed for Inter Miami, that was when he made his debut for Leagues Cup. He made his debut at Leagues Cup for Inter Miami. And that, along with the tournament's new structure, is what really catapulted it and really got people excited for Leagues Cup. So I honestly think, look, we're not here to bash Leagues Cup right now. That's a whole different thing, right? But if you look at it, last year, nobody played in Leagues Cup as far as big names, and it just kind of felt dry and boring. This year, Messi's going to play in Leagues Cup. Rodrigo De Paul is going to play in Leagues Cup. It's going to be his debut for Inter Miami and MLS. There's going to be more signings in Major League Soccer. They changed the format, 18 versus 18. Top 18 Liga MX teams, or the only 18 Liga MX teams, versus the top 18 teams in Major League Soccer. It's going to be a way different, or not way different, but a better format, not as bloated. So that's going to be interesting. So yes, there's going to be incentive to watch Leagues Cup. I think this year it's going to be interesting to see how Inter Miami perform, and we're going to get to see Rodrigo De Paul make his debut. That's the first match he's ever going to play for Inter Miami, is going to be in Leagues Cup. So that right there alone gives it a little bit more of a boost as far as excitement and interest. Nick Smith says Robert Taylor doesn't even start for Austin FC. I liked him, but it's not really a huge loss like everyone keeps saying. No, of course not. Robert Taylor wasn't very good for Inter Miami consistently. He had the 20. Here's the thing. In 2023 in the Leagues Cup, a couple guys had very good stints with Messi in 2023 for the Leagues Cup. And it kind of just catapulted them to make people think that they're much better than they actually are. You had Robert Taylor, who played really well, and people just put him in this sphere of like being this great player, and he's not. I think he's inconsistent. He's got pace. He's a nice player, but he's not that good. Benjamin Kremoski has not been good since 2023, in my opinion. He has not gotten any better. Benjamin Kremoski, he has regressed, in my opinion. And he was 18 years old when he was playing. That's not the trend you want to see. You want to see players getting better as they get older, not worse. Especially when they're that 18 to 20, he should be a lot better than what he is. And then Drake Callender was a Leagues Cup hero, and he doesn't even play anymore. He's rotting on the bench. And Campana, he's not doing anything in New England. So a lot of these guys that played for Inter Miami through the Leagues Cup run and even last year aren't doing anything now that they've left. They're not doing anything. And Joseph Martinez, I mean, he had a decent season last year, but he just keeps getting hurt. He had a decent season for Montreal. But this is going to be interesting to see, and I think Inter Miami would have to be one of the top teams that are favorited to win Leagues Cup, especially with these additions. Now, if you saw David Martinez obviously left Inter Miami today, we will see what they do with him. I hope it's not, Marco Rojo. I hope it's not him because he's 35 years old and they don't need to sign another old player. I've said this before. They have 5 starting players who are 36 years old or older. 5 starters who are 36 or older. You can't keep signing 35, 36, 37, 38-year-old players. They have 3 players who are 38 years old, 38 or older. They got to start adding some youth. Now Rodrigo De Paul is only 31 years old, so that's fine. That's fine. Okay, so let's get into this. I want to ask you guys this and see what you think about this list. All right? So I made a list today that got a lot of people up in arms for some reason. I don't know why, but I said I made a list of my top 5 signings of all time. Now, here's the criteria for this list. This is solely based on their status, profile, and age before they played a game. This has nothing to do with what they've done in Major League Soccer. This is what they have done in this is what they, at the time they signed with MLS. So, top 5 MLS signings all time: Messi 1, Beckham 2, Rodrigo De Paul 3, Thierry Henry 4, Carlos Vela 5. Rodrigo De Paul is number 3 all time for me, and I'd be curious to see what you guys think about this list or where you would rank De Paul all time. But the reason why De Paul is number 3 for me is because the profile, what he's accomplished when he's coming here, at the age he's coming here. He's not coming to MLS as a wash player, 35, 36 years old, who has nothing left to offer. He's coming to Major League Soccer as a player who could have many other options. He could go to almost any league in the world he could go to and start. I'm not saying he could start for any team, but he is not short of any options of clubs he could play for at the top level. So the fact he's choosing to come here at 31 and the fact of his profile winning a World Cup, being a starter on a World Cup winning team, being a key contributor on a World Cup winning team, I think that puts him in the upper echelon of MLS signings. He's the 3rd best signing in MLS history to me. And it has to. Now, if he was 34, 35, it wouldn't be close. He'd be just another guy. But he's coming here in his prime. That is what sets it aside. That is what sets it aside. Someone says, where is Ibra? Now, listen. Ibra is probably the 2nd best player of all time to perform in Major League Soccer. But the problem is that when he came here in 2018, he was 36 years old. He was coming off of a major knee injury at Manchester United, and a lot of people thought he was finished. They thought he was done. So his stock was down when he signed with the league. his stock was down when he signed with the league. Yep, I'm seeing this right now. So I'm reading this report. Let me pull this up. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, wrong guy. Let's see. Here we go. He's got me blocked, by the way, so that's why I can't find him. He says, update on Rodrigo De Paul. The current planning is being communicated that De Paul will not be a DP. We know this in 2025 while on loan. That would mean Inter Miami's DPs remain Lionel Messi, Sergio Busquets, Jordi Alba. TAM includes Luis Suarez and De Paul. He also says Inter Miami finalizing the deal. They will purchase for around $17 million, 15 million euros plus add-ons. Atletico trigger one-year contract option, meaning Rodrigo De Paul contract expires in summer of 2027 as of now. So essentially, it's a 3-year deal. And wait, let me. Oh, okay. Okay. So Atletico triggered the 1-year option. So Atletico had to do that in order to, I guess, loan him out because he'll be a free transfer in the summer. So I guess that's the reason why they had to trigger his option. So that has nothing to do with Inter Miami. I guess that's just to get this deal across the line. Mr. Mister says DePaul isn't a slick footballer. He's a warrior in the midfield. He is. He is for sure. Um, let's see. So anyway, so it's happening, right? Inter Miami is going to sign Rodrigo De Paul. I think it's the third biggest signing in MLS history. I think because of the age, the quality, the options he would have. When we talk about the best players of all time, you got to look at the options they have too, right? We're not talking about profiles and we're not talking about what they've done throughout their career. We're talking about what they have left to offer when they're coming here, what the excitement is, what they have, the profile of their age, like not their history. It's kind of like a mixture of all of that. But a lot of, like I said, with Zlatan Ibrahimovic, to go back to him, a lot of people thought when he came here to Major League Soccer in 2020, or excuse me, 2018, he came here on a TAM deal. He wasn't even a DP. He was coming off of a terrible ACL injury. Manchester United did not want him, and a lot of other teams around the Europe did not want him either. Top teams did not want him. So he came here on a sweetheart deal to prove himself once again, and he did. By the way, he absolutely dominated, and the rest is history. He had one of the best careers in MLS. He had one of the best careers in MLS history, at least production wise. But that has nothing to do with the profile of what he was when he came here at the age he came here. We're not talking about the history of Zlatan Ibrahimovic. We're talking about what they were the day they signed. What were people thinking? What were they feeling? Were they optimistic they were going to be what they had been before? A lot of question marks around him when he signed in 2020 or 2019 or 2018. DePaul could start on any team in Europe, and he's coming to Miami and MLS. That's impact. 100%. 100%. 100%. Huge deal. Huge deal. Like, and I saw people downplaying this, like, that it's not a big deal. Like, Rodrigo De Paul, I said this before, is legitimately a top 15 box-to-box midfielder in the world. He plays for a top 10 club in the world. He plays for arguably the best international team in the world. He is a bona fide starter. He is a top 15 box-to-box midfielder in the world. And Inter Miami and MLS got him at 31 years old. You know, I was talking to my buddy Vince yesterday, and I know some of you're probably gonna think this is an extreme measure of like comparing this, but I want you to think about this for a second. Now, the player I'm about to mention is better than Rodrigo De Paul historically. That's not what I'm trying to say. He is better than Rodrigo De Paul historically. I'm just comparing similarities between when they're signing and how they performed. In 2011, Andrea Pirlo left AC Milan and he went to Juve on a free transfer. Okay. A lot of people thought Pirlo's best days were behind him. He was washed. He wasn't going to be nearly as good. And I remember there was a quote that Gigi Buffon said that getting Andrea Pirlo on a free transfer to Juve was the biggest signing in soccer history, the biggest steal in soccer history. Okay. And if you go back and you think about it, 2011 to 2015, Andrea Pirlo's stint at Juve was probably the most successful, best stint of his career, entire career, his 4 years at Juve. And it was from age 32 to 36. He still had stuff left. He still had something left in the tank. Inter Miami are getting a high quality midfielder at 31 years old, and they're signing him to a 4-year deal. They are getting the last remaining high quality, not past his prime. They are getting the last remaining high quality years of Rodrigo De Paul. And he is going to step into this league being the best midfielder in the league by a long shot. It's not going to be even close. He's probably already the second best player in the league. He is probably the second best player in the league. He is the second best player in the league outside of Messi. He is the biggest. He is the second best player in MLS when he steps on the field, and he's the best midfielder in MLS by far. Tony says increase the DPs from 3 to 5. That will help the league tremendously. I mean, I agree that would help the league, but I don't think they're going to do that. William Harris says MLS no longer is a retirement league like many used to say in the post. Examples like Rodrigo De Paul proves that. We'll just see what happens. De Paul is good investment, but I'm frustrated with the defense. Did you hear anything about the defense? I haven't. I mean, I heard that Rojo is possibly someone that they would sign. Okay, this is the last question I'm going to ask you guys, and we're going to end the stream. I asked you if the MLS or Inter Miami is the best team in Major League Soccer now. Okay. Does this signing, now hypothetically, if this is the only signing that Inter Miami makes for the rest of the offseason or the summer window, I keep saying offseason because it's the other league's offseason. But if this is the last signing that the MLS or the Inter Miami makes for the rest of the MLS season, will they win the MLS Cup in 2025? Will Inter Miami win the MLS Cup after making this signing if they don't do anything else? This is the last signing they make. The Adventures of Dawn says no. Wade Flores says no. Lay says no. Wade says can't buy MLS Cup. Henry says anything to get Messi to lift silverware. Lay says no. Suarez and defense take them back. John says yes by a mile. They're already the first in points per game. Jorge says no because of the Columbus Crew. I mean, if the Crew get a striker, they could be dangerous. LAC says not with Suarez playing 90. Mr. says I think they will, but they could do with a striker. Nick says only if Mascherano learns how to coach and everyone stays healthy. It's too random in MLS playoffs. And we've seen that last year with their performance against Atlanta United. Curtis says, who's beating them in a 3-game series? I mean, Atlanta beat them last year, and I didn't think they would, but we'll just have to see. Juan says, no, mistakes and legs will lead to a random loss. One and done is too unpredictable. N4K5 says, yes, but it will be a nail-biter. It'll be exciting. Hopefully, we get exciting playoffs in 2020. We get exciting playoffs in 2025. No thanks says, MLS is not a retirement league. I mean, I think it's starting to trend in the opposite direction. There's a lot of young signings, and if you're going to sign an older player, this is the one you'd want to sign, someone who's like 30, 31 years old. Maximus says, didn't the Galaxy do something similar with Pavone and got caught? They did, but the problem with that was they weren't paying him TAM money. Like they had him on loan to be a DP or to be a TAM player with an option to buy him to be a DP. But they were paying him more under the table than what the DP threshold was which was like 1.5 million. They were paying him over that. So Michael says, greetings from Chile. Love your show in the MLS League. Go Inter Miami. Appreciate you for tuning in. But yeah, guys, I think that pretty much wraps it up. Huge signing for Major League Soccer. Big deal for MLS. Exciting to see what happens this summer. Hopefully there's more teams that make big signings. I don't want Inter Miami just to do it all. I want other MLS teams to step up, make their team better, spend some money, and help this league grow. Miami can't do it by themselves. We need to see more teams step up to the plate and do what they need to do. Hope you guys enjoyed this show. Make sure you like the video down below if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Guys, like I said, we're 220 subscribers away from 8,000. Let's try to hit 8K by the end of July. We got 15 days. Let's try to hit 8K before July ends. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already and hit that little bell notification so you never miss a video. Now, if Messi makes history tonight and has a 6th game where he has a brace, I'll probably do a post-game recap. So just stay tuned for that as well. Hope you guys have a great night. Enjoy the games. MLS on Wednesday. Until next time, guys, I will see you all soon.